Hey guys, we're gonna make Italian lentil soup today. Here's all the ingredients, perfect for the fall, winter. I'll show you a few ways to serve it at the end with multiple taste testers. Let's get into it right now. All right guys, I always like to go over the ingredients, and lentil soup is really easy, and most recipes will start with kind of like a base like this, and then you can expand or subtract things. Here's our lentils. We have brown lentils here. You could also use green lentils. Green lentils are a little more peppery than brown. I have these little tomatoes here that I've never bought before in my life. They're cute, and I just need a little bit of tomato here. So the recipe has 8 ounces of plum tomatoes that are crushed, and we'll just crush them with our hands. And also you're gonna use 3 ounces of tomato paste. You could really just get away with just using paste if you want. Roughly you're gonna need about 2 celery ribs, but I used 3 because they were a little small. Same thing, use 2 medium carrots, or about 3 carrots that I used. Both of these equal a little bit more than a cup. I used 1 medium onion. I have 8 ounces of baby spinach. That's gonna go in right at the end. I have a lot of water. This is only half of the water we're gonna need. We're gonna use about 8 cups. This doesn't have to be exact, and if you don't wanna use water, you can use chicken stock. You could even use beef stock. Using both of those is gonna change the flavor a lot of your soup, which is great. We're gonna use some dried oregano in there, and then I have kind of a secret weapon, but you know, it's not a secret really. A lot of people do this. These are Parmigiano Reggiano rinds. Instinctually, you might want to throw it out at the end because you're like, I can't grate this anymore. But they're the best. They're perfect for pasta fazool. I put them in short rib ragu that we did in the past. I've used them like probably 10 or 15 times on the channel. Save them. All right guys, I'm gonna use a Dutch oven here. Just, you can use any pot, like heavy pot, or even if it's not heavy, it'll work too, but you might just have to look for sticking a little bit more. I'm gonna heat this up to about a 4 out of 10. I have extra virgin olive oil here. Feel free to use regular olive oil if you want. I'm gonna coat the bottom of it. It's roughly about a 1/4 cup to start. And I'm gonna put the onion, carrot, and celery in at the same time. We're gonna let these get soft, so it's gonna take about 10, 12 minutes on about that 4 out of 10 level. I don't really wanna put a lot of color on them now. I'm just letting them get very soft. It's been about 13 minutes, I'd say, and now they've reduced a lot. They're a lot softer. If you want to get them even softer, you can, but you know, doing this, cooking this out for about 10, 15 minutes, you know, it'll sweeten it up a little bit. It'll bring out the flavor of those vegetables that will impart into the rest of your soup. I have 3 ounces of tomato paste. So that is half of a can, you know, standard American can, which always comes at 6 ounces. We're gonna like fry the paste out for about 5 minutes. I think some chefs call it blooming it or whatnot. I don't know, I've always been doing this. My grandma always did this from when I was a kid. Often a lot of things like that you'll learn from your family members, from your grandma, they won't really give a reason for why they did it. You know, they're saying like, just fry the paste. So I've always fried the paste. And just keep stirring it for about that 5 minutes. You don't want it to burn. If it looks like it's burning at all, just put a little bit more oil in, or you can knock your heat down a bit. But we're good right now with this heat level. All right, we're gonna get our lentils in and the rest of our stuff in. So I'm getting nice color now on that paste. Here's those little tomatoes. They are called ditieri, right? Datarini. That means little date in Italian. That's what Google says anyway. So I'm gonna break these up a little bit with my wooden spoon. Whenever my grandmother would make lentil soup, and my mother, they would always put some of these like whole tomatoes. It gives some texture into the soup. You don't have to do that though. Okay, you could get like crushed tomatoes. You just want to add some tomato in here. I'm just gonna try to break each one up, and some of them are a little hard, so maybe I'll take a knife. They'll probably burst in the 40 minutes that we do our soup, but just in case. Oh, and watch when they explode now and go all over your really nice shirt. This is a nice shirt, it's not from Costco. When you deal with lentils, guys, you really want to like spread them out and like maybe like in a bigger baking sheet or something. Look for like pieces, for rocks. There might be a bad lentil or two. All right, so they're in here. I'm gonna mix those all around, get them really coated with that wonderful flavor. By the way, guys, everything I've done right now, like doing the sofrito, sauteing it, you could just skip all that and you could throw it all in the pot and just boil it, but you get more flavor this way. So I suggest you go through the extra effort to do this. Here's our Parmigiano Reggiano rinds. I'm gonna put in 8 cups of water. This is only 4 cups. This is water right from my sink, not from anything special. You could use chicken stock though, or beef stock, beef base. Now with your spoon, any of that like leftover caramelization, remove it with your spoon. So feel as your spoon hits the bottom there, like if it feels like a little texture, you want to remove that. You want it to be nice and smooth when you put your spoon down there. I'm gonna put in some oregano, about 1 teaspoon of dried oregano. So that's 1 teaspoon. I'm gonna start with 1.5 teaspoons of kosher salt. So about that much. I'm gonna turn this up to high. Bring it to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, knock it back down to a simmer. Just make sure nothing's sticking to the bottom. Stir it. It's gonna take about 30 to 45 minutes for your lentils to get tender. When you cook lentils, it's so easy, especially in a soup. You just don't want to turn them into mush. But if you do it, it's still gonna be wonderful. It's still gonna taste good. But I like to leave a little bit of texture, though I don't want any hard pieces. If you need a little bit more water, just add it in. I have 2 cups here. I'll probably put a cup to start. Let it keep cooking, and then we'll be back. All right, guys, it's been about 40 minutes, and the lentils are tender. I tasted them a few times. This is how it looks, the consistency right now. I have 8 ounces of spinach here, and it's just gonna go right in the pot, and it looks like a lot. It looks like it's not gonna fit. It's just gonna turn very soft into not a lot in about a minute. You can get those lentils on top of it, and that will wilt the spinach. As far as those 2 little Parmigiano rinds that I put in there, you can eat those rinds. You can also give it as a really nice treat to your dog if you have one. You know, it served its purpose here. We got the nice flavor in the soup, and I can really smell it permeating. And that's delicious from the cheese, but it needs a good amount of salt. I'm putting about 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Pepper, I'm gonna put in about a teaspoon here, so a good amount. All right, mix that all in. We'll taste it again, get it right. If we need more salt and pepper, bring it up to where you want it. If you want to put a little bit more dry oregano, you could put it in there. All right, let's bring down the taste tester. All right, I got the dual taste testers here today. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What's your favorite way to have this, James?
Yeah, I like red wine vinegar in it.
Okay. Do you want me to put a little bit of red wine vinegar on it for you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
So guys, that's one of the ways, and it really changes the taste of it completely.
Makes it way better.
Okay. All right, that's his way. Why don't you tell me what you think of it?
Okay. It's decent.
Decent, huh?
Pretty decent.
Is it time for you to go back to school? Thanks, James. So what's your favorite way?
Greek yogurt.
Greek yogurt.
Yeah.
All right.
Do we have any Greek yogurt?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
So when I make the big pot of soup, you know, my wife will take the yogurt out. She likes it on top. James likes the vinegar, and I'll show you my way.
I like the yogurt because it makes it tangy.
Yeah.
And it's like extra protein too.
Never tried it like that.
Oh, good.
All right, so now I'm going to show you guys the best way. The good olive oil, okay, a nice potent drizzle, a good amount of Parmesan, and a piece of crusty bread. That's my favorite way to enjoy it. So let me see how this is. The olive oil. James, try that.
Okay.
So which is that better than the vinegar? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Do you want to try mine too? You could be like Goldilocks and the 3 bears.
Yeah. That's good too.
Which is your favorite way?
Yeah.
Is it still the vinegar, or do you have a new favorite?
And what's your rating too, James?
Okay, could I rate each one of them?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I didn't actually think this was gonna be good, but I really like it. I'm gonna give that 7 out of 10.
Okay.
I'm gonna give the olive oil an 8, and I've tried this before. I think I really like the olive oil, and the cheese is really good with it. The olive oil gives it a lot more flavor. It's really good. And for the red wine vinegar one, I think I'm also gonna give it a 7 because I just think yours has the most flavor in it out of all 3 of these.
Thanks for the ratings. I appreciate those really, really mediocre ratings. Mama, well, what do you think of the lentil soup and what would you give it?
I love lentil soup. So I think it's really, I mean, like every time I make lentil soup, I make your recipe.
Yeah.
So I've had this a million times and I love it. I think it's delicious.
So what would you give it?
I give it a solid 9. I don't know what else you would do to make it better.
And I'll explain this. Guys, I get a lot of comments about this, about the comment, and I'm telling you, it's been dozens of times. I think a lot of these comments stem from people who just watch shorter form content. They're like, no spice in there, bro. It's horrible. They'll say it. I mean, my wife reads the comments too. Like she, you know, we do this together. She helps. How many times do you see that comment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're expecting me to like take like 6 spice containers. They're actually also expecting me to have like sip and feast spice, my own spice. Like you see those guys all the time, like on TikTok. They're like, buy my spice rub. And they're throwing their spice rub in the lentil soup. That's not what I do here, guys. I always like keep things kind of basic, let the ingredients speak for themselves. Yeah. If you made it to the end, thank you.